I see your demons, I'm telling them it's on sight. I'm just playing, I don't fight, I do pray. I only go the way of Mr. Yahweh. Try to correct me.
Welcome to the Profitable Cleaner.
Hello.
Yeah, I know you've been with us before, but this time around you're here in person. We're here in your territory. And I know I've gotten to meet your team more. We've gotten to see your progress as you're growing. You guys have grown to basically Canada now.
Yep.
Now you just came down from Brownsville.
Brownsville, yep.
And did you drive straight here?
No.
No, okay. So for a second, I was like, whoa.
No, I got a little rest.
Okay, good. But tell us, what you were just telling me a little bit about how you went to Brownsville, which is on the other side of
So
Texas.
it's on the border of Mexico and the United States in Texas. Yep.
Yeah, right. How far is it from here?
It's about,
actually not that
with
far.
the kids,
Like 6
it's
hours?
about 8.5 hours.
Oh,
Yeah, with the
so you
kids.
went on a family trip and turned it into business? Is that what?
Correct. Yeah, so I got in
okay.
trouble for that. But
But it looks like you might land a client. So
Yeah.
you just went out to Brownsville and you're just like, tell us a
so
little bit about it.
My brother-in-law, he works for AT&T down there, and he's been interested in like some freedom and seeing what he can do inside our business. And so I was like, hey, let's just go out on some sales calls while I'm here. We went to Kinko's, printed out some capability statements. I had some folders with me, and I like stuffed them. And I was like, let's just give it a shot. I made a fake letter from the president up, put it in the folder. I was like, let's go. Let's see what happens. And so, yeah, I was connected to the city manager down there, so we tried to go see her and then a couple other people. And then finally I was just like, let's just go. Where are the biggest buildings like clumped together here in Brownsville? And he's like, all right, let's go over here. And we just started going door to door. And we went in, and I said, tell him you want to see the facility manager or the plant manager. And he's all nervous. He goes up there, can I see the plant manager? And the receptionist like hits him with the get out of my face stiff arm. And he starts backpedaling, and I'm like, just grab a business card. And so he grabs, she was like, yeah, the manager's card is here. And she keeps talking on the phone like she doesn't even give him any time at all.
Yeah.
So we start walking back to the car, and I call the guy immediately.
Let's go.
And I'm like, hey, man, I'm here from Fort Worth. I'm only here today. We're really interested in expanding into Brownsville. We're excited about it. I would love to come meet you today if you got any time. And he said, you know what? I'm going to finish up my meetings. I'll be available after 4. I was like, how about 4 on the dot? And he said, okay. So we went down there, and they have in-house staff, 3 ladies cleaning this 70,000 square foot building. And he was explaining everything to me, and then we started talking. I was like, well, what else do you need? He's like, well, we need the inside painted. And what else do you need? Oh, we got some components that need to be painted. And then this needs to be pressure washed. I was like, we could do all of that. And by the end of it, we ended up giving him proposals. So I'm drafting that up now, and we're probably going to undercut what they're paying by about $600 or $700, and hopefully we'll be adding another customer to the client list.
Now and then, so that you would officially expand to Brownsville.
Yeah, we have one little itty bitty contract out there that I pretty much am doing for free, but this will be like a real client that we can actually build off of.
Where do you get some of that tenacity to the door
no
knocking?
doubt.
Man, I don't mind. I enjoy sales. That's something since I was a teenager. I'm like, I want to get the biggest sale possible, and I'm the guy that closes the door and like, Jerry Maguire style. So, you don't have to talk to me much to get me to go out and sell some stuff. Now, the follow-up calls, I hate that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, I don't like following.
I think there's something to be said though. You being the leader of your company, the CEO, not being too good just to go in and door knock, get hit with an objection on the way out, get the business card and cold call. I think sometimes as businesses grow, sometimes leaders get, I don't want to say too good, but they lose touch
Right.
Yeah.
with what once worked. And it always never fails. The best leaders that we see in this industry, they'll still pick up the phone if they have to. Mm-hmm. They'll still go out with their team member in the field if they have to.
That's what you got to do. One big thing that I noticed is that people respond well to seeing things acted out. Mm-hmm. It's one thing that I can put mission statements and vision statements all over the place, and I can be high-fiving and cheerleading all day long. But whenever it comes to a certain point, they just don't have the understanding of doing what needs to be done sometimes, and they just got to see it. And so with him, he's been down there, and I've been sending them information about the company, my brother-in-law, and trying to teach him like, okay, well, if you're really interested, this is what you need to do. But it wasn't clicking. Like he was apprehensive and nervous about the whole deal. And so I was like, let's just go do it and see what happens. And then we get the kind. Now I'm hoping he doesn't get delusional and thinking every time he walks out the door, he's going to walk back with a customer. But, it made it click to him like, oh, crap, you can do this. Like just walking into a building and getting a deal done. So
yeah, and I think you said something on that. Like you called him, you say, hey, listen, and you just very, very clear about your intention. I got your business card here. I'm from Fort Worth, really want to do business in Brownsville. I got time today. I really don't have time any other time. And he respected it. You respected it. He could tell that you were the leader in that role, and you were both like, cool, let's talk. And I think people overthink sometimes just setting your intention straight. Oh, yeah. And you try to dance around the bush too much.
That's it. I think most of sales is confidence. If you feel like you have something that people need, and there should be a level of honor between both sides. Like I honor what they do. I know I can't jump in there and manufacture metal parts out of nowhere. I know they've invested a lot in their company, and now I'm looking to partner with them so that I can help their company take away a burden, which is cleaning, especially if they're doing it in-house. Like that's a lot where you got this group of people that now the facility manager has to train and has to deal with retention and all that stuff. Nobody wants to deal with that stuff. And so we come in, and our part of their business is taking that away from them completely. And if I can hold up my end of the bargain, they're going to be more efficient, and we're all going to win. We're all going to make money together. And so when I'm selling something, I'm not selling it from a passive point of view where I'm like, oh, man, I hope they say yes, and I start changing my numbers and all that stuff. It's about, hey, no, I have something valuable for your company. You got something valuable for my company. Let's do business together. Let's work together. And in the beginning, I didn't have that. I had the, what do you call that, commission breath, where it's like, oh, I need you, help me, please. And it's really difficult to do business with somebody that you can tell needs you way more than you need them. Yeah.
Hey, are you ready to challenge yourself? Mark your calendars for the event of the year, the Cleaning Profits Takeover Edition, happening in Denver, Colorado from September 24 to 26. Head over to event.cleaningprofits.com for all the details. For being listeners, use code CEO30 for a 30% discount. See you there.
Yeah. Now, what has shifted in you from last time that we spoke? We spoke because you wrote that article on how you help somebody, like they wanted to like replace their HVAC. They wanted to do all these crazy things, and you were just like, just clean them up, let me help, right?
Yep.
I've seen you join programs. I believe you're in the, what is it called?
Goldman Sachs
10K?
10KSB. Yep.
Right. Did you join another program before? Weren't you in another program before that?
So I've done a few programs. We did the leadership program with the Metroport Chamber over there. Right. That was freaking awesome. We met every mayor of every city. We met the judges. Every leader over there in those 7 cities we've encountered, and now I'm doing business with several of the cities over there. So that was great. But it was more working on me individually. And then 10KSB has me working on my business, which is eye-opening. It's a lot of stuff that I knew going into it. But like I told them, the thing I wanted was the blind spots that I don't even know I don't know. And that's what they've been really opening up. And but as far as the confidence, I think the biggest shift in us is when we took that account in Canada and we were able to just jump in, boom, 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 make the moves, get it running, and our processes and our operation seamlessly went out to Canada. And then it's like, oh, crap. Well, if we can do that, we can do, Oklahoma or New Orleans, Louisiana, or whatever. We can go wherever we need to go because we figured out how to translate Fort Worth JDM to anywhere JDM. And that made me super confident. I was like, oh, okay. Well, then we do have what we need. A lot of times I think with smaller companies, I know from my personal experience, you look at the larger companies and you always assuming that you're missing something, right? That they have it more together than you. And what I've started realizing going through this program is that they just have more money than I do. And so
been in it longer sometimes, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of the skills that these small business owners have, they don't realize they have. A friend of mine, his name is Ed Selkow.
Yeah.
And he's been kind of mentoring me throughout the time. And he said one thing that he said to me a long time ago is, stop trying to be big. Everything that you told me, I want to do business with you. But you're trying to hide what you're good at so that you can look like ABM or SBM or at the time GCA. He said, I've worked with these companies. I'm telling you, they're not as organized as you think they are. What you need to do is focus on what you're good at and be confident in telling them, because anybody who does business with you is going to want you to be you. You're never going to trick anybody into believing that you're actually bigger than you are.
Totally.
That's a good advice.
So you're the second person now just today to bring up Ed.
Oh,
so
yeah?
Shout out to Ed,
He's
man.
awesome.
He was one of our first mentors in the game as well.
Yeah.
Talk to us about, I'm just curious from a personal standpoint about your expansion from good old Fort Worth now to Canada. How did that deal come about? What was that process like? And
The article.
yeah,
The same
article, man.
Look at that, man.
Yeah, that same company. So basically, they were just looking at expanding to one vendor for all of their locations, and it didn't go through because they don't have a real centralized control center. It's kind of like each unit operates itself, and so they tried to, and then several of them backed out at the last minute, kept what they had. But Canada, they were like, yeah, we want it. And so I think it's more of a proof of concept that when we get in there, we lock that down, we do well, we're going to come back and circle back to the other 6 locations as well. But that, it was just from doing a great job for them. Start with one location, do a great job, impact the leadership at that location. They spread the word to the corporate office. And
what was the hiring process like out there?
oh my God, it's a beating. A beating.
Tell us about it.
So, for one thing, they have different currency than we do.
Right.
So, doing the conversions and trying to find out what's fair up there. So that was, I think we overpaid everybody, but that's okay.
Hey, you learn.
Yeah, we learned. Because the applicants were flowing in. I was like, what did we do wrong? Usually they're trickling in. A wave of applications came in. So getting the people in, but we got a guy. We told him, hey, you're going to be a working supervisor. We're going to start you in the daytime. This is going to be your schedule. Everything's great. We get out there. We're having a meeting, and Connie went out there for me. She's having a meeting with these people. They're like, we want everybody's contact information. We want the leader's contact information, and we want to meet him. So the next day, she brings the guy out there. After the meeting, he says, they didn't tell me I was going to be cleaning, which we did. I only want to be a manager. And I'm like, just pay him a little bit more. She's like, no, he doesn't want any more money. He wants to be the manager. He's doing a doctorate degree or something like that. I'm like, oh, crap. So he's already been introduced in this meeting. Everybody has his phone number. I'm like, man, this is going to look horrible if we pull the plug on this guy. So I start playing with the numbers. I'm like, okay, well, our profit margin will go down to this percentage if we keep him, and he's just a manager. And we lost the daytime person. So we keep him on as a manager. Now we got her fill in the daytime. Then the people at nighttime go in there and they start arguing with each other. And then they want them out of there. So, it's just the normal dysfunction of a new account, but it's just far away. And so the new manager steps up like crazy. He does our process well. He goes in and trains just like what we're training. I mean, he picked it up great. And we got it fixed in a couple of days. And they were very understanding. They're like, we understand y'all are way over there. You're jumping through hoops to get this stuff done. As long as you communicate with customers, they understand. I mean, they run a business just like we do. They have turnover just like we do. The problem is when you start lying and start setting false expectations. Oh, we're going to have this done tomorrow. Just be realistic. And that's what everything smoothed out in about 3 days or so. And now it's just cooking.
What were your biggest worries going from Fort Worth to Canada?
Oof.
And then did those worries become real, or were they like, did you realize that you kind of made them up because you didn't know basically, and then it was like, oh no, we're actually very good.
Yeah.
But we ran into this, which we didn't know.
So I thought the onboarding would be harder than it was, and what I thought we had worked out did not work out. So we get over there, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna run it this way as far as the finances and taxes and all that stuff. None of that worked out. They were like, they didn't tell you need this insurance. They didn't tell you need this. None of this stuff's in the contract. So I'm scrambling like, oh God, I need a physical location. So I set up, go get the virtual office set up. Then you got to have a bank account, and they want to see you. In Canada, it's not like here. You can't just like, I set up a Blue Vine account in like 15 minutes and I got a bank account. Nah, not in Canada. They're like, no, when are you coming to the office? I'm like, are you serious? I'm in Texas. I'm not coming to see you. They're like, oh, well, then we have this process that takes like a month to get a bank account set up. And I'm just like, crap. And then there's all kinds of forms. I'm like, we got to get some CPAs involved and all that. So I thought it was going to be easier. It turned into a little bit of a headache. But like I said, that's all behind the scenes stuff. So the customer is not worried about me fixing that. They're like, y'all come.
And you trusted to send Connie over.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yeah, I saw her post on LinkedIn. I loved it. Did that boost her confidence, and even like her pride for the crew even more, like JDM?
Yeah, so Connie has been with us for 5 years, going on 6, and she started off part-time and really just young and raw. And but she has been a sponge. Like everything she wants to learn the most. Like she's been to the Beck School of Construction. We sent her to another Turner School of Construction, and now she's found a niche there as a leader, and she's running our construction department. And then also as director of client services, she's in contact with most of our big customers. And so this was just something that she was very nervous about and boosted her confidence incredibly. She did not want to go. But, God, he has a way of closing all other doors. Because I kept on trying. I'm like, okay, I'll fix it. I'll jump in. He's like, nope, you're busy. You're going over here. Nope, you're busy. You're going over here. You can't go. And then I had somebody to go with her. That fell through. His mom got sick, and he had to go out of town. And so everything just turned into, it's just you, Connie. I'm sorry. You're going, and this is what you need to worry about. And, we'll be NASA.
Yeah.
At Houston, we got a problem. We'll answer from here. But, yeah, she came back. And she's comfortable. She talks to them in Canada. She runs it still. I mean, yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today's episode is brought to you by Cinch. If you're ready to take your commercial cleaning business to the next level, we have you covered. Maybe you're struggling with how to bid, how to create professional-looking proposals, or just how to ensure your customers' accounts are actually being cleaned at night. Introducing Cinch Janitorial software. Cinch is a simple, user-friendly software that eliminates these types of struggles that you probably know all too well. Cinch simplifies your entire process and will supercharge your success because they remove paperwork headaches while creating a scalable, efficient, and profitable cleaning business. Get your free demo of Cinch at cleancinch.com. They're here to turn your business into a success story. That's cleancinch, CINCH.com. It's simple. It's Cinch.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just talking to another guest, and he literally said, God will close. Sometimes, that Jesus is the way, that door is always the way. So he's he'll just boom,
He'll eliminate
and you'll be like, whoop, one path.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like this
exactly
was
right.
what Connie needed to grow with the company herself. Because it's by yourself in a different country, trying to set up an account. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. That's a lot even for an owner. When you just start, you're like, what the? So her post was, I just saw the post, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, super successful onboarding. And she does seem almost lighter. She seems happier.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, she come back a whole lot more relaxed. And I think doing something like that where, in my mind, I have this unlimited mindset. Like, if with God in me, if he shows me something, there's nothing too big for God, and so is nothing too big for me. I can do anything that he leads me to. Now, if I start forcing my way, then
That's a different,
not so fun. But, and she's starting to take on that mindset. I think a lot of it comes from going down there to Canada, because she used to be very apprehensive about taking on some of the bigger stuff. And I always like, oh, don't worry about it. Let's just do it, and see what happens. Worst thing it can happen is that we go out there and struggle really hard, barely get through it, and lose some money. Yeah, but if we succeed, man, that opens up a whole new window.
Yeah.
And so, but you can say that all day until
you actually do it.
A situation
That's
like
right.
this comes up, it clicks for her too. So yeah.
Where does your unwavering faith come from?
Oh man, I actually just met a group and talked about that today, and I'm not gonna go into deep detail because I start crying and y'all don't want to see that. But my son, even before that, but this is where it like locked in to the point where the all things are possible mentality came in. My son, he was like 3, so this was about 13 years ago. He was having urinary tract infections and urinating blood, like pure streams of blood. It was horrible. And so we got ultrasounds done. They were trying to figure it out. And eventually, after all the tests that come back, they said, well, the only thing it is this rare disease. 1 in 100,000 kids get it, and basically they die at between 9 and 11 years old.
What the?
And so that happened. And then my wife, 2 years later, she got sepsis. And
Sorry for my ignorance. What is that?
Sepsis?
Yeah.
So basically what happened was they put her under to take a cyst out, and because they jostled something in there, she threw up and breathed it into her lungs. So septic shock is like when your body has infected itself, and it's really bad. So basically it's a high mortality rate attached to it. And so her blood pressure was 40/20 when we got her into the hospital. It got her back into the hospital, and her temperature was like 107 degrees or something. So she was in bad shape. And on hers, I was in the hospital room. I had been there for 5 days, and they had tried every medication they could, and she wasn't getting any better. And I was sitting in there, and the nurses were sitting outside the room. And I heard them talking, and they said, man, it's a shame. This lady is only, I think she was like 27 then. She's super young, and she's going to die. Like, we don't have, God. Yeah, the doctor said we don't have anything else to try. Like, we're just waiting, basically. And so I'm just like, crap.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's why I don't like talking about this.
It's okay.
And so, anyway, both stories with little Joseph. He, we prayed for him. I prayed for him. I had a dream about him, and basically an evil spirit was attacking him in the dream. Holy Spirit wakes me up, tells me, go pray. I go pray. I'm speaking in tongues, the whole thing. And I just feel like a release, and I just went back to bed. And he woke up a few hours later, and I said, hey, try to go to the bathroom. And he goes into the bathroom. He says, Daddy, it's not burning. It's no more blood. And so he got his healing. And then Jessica, right after they made that announcement, I didn't even say anything to Jessica because they didn't know I could hear them.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, man, I was sick. And so she told me my son had his birthday, and she was like, I don't want him to be in here. Take them somewhere. And when I came back, dude, she was like sitting up. She was breathing normal. And the next morning, she was ready to get out of the hospital. And so that's why whenever I see God do stuff like that, it's just, man.
Yeah, they talk about, the burning bush scenario. Yeah. You have 2 of those.
Yeah.
And I actually have one in my life with my son. And we were just talking to another podcast guest earlier today about his son who had cancer. And he was talking about faith, and his son basically was given a death sentence at 10, 13 years old, and doctor said this is the only option. And in his heart, they prayed about it, said, no, we're not going forward with this treatment. And lo and behold, his son's here alive today.
And then 2 days later, they called him to do a clinical trial. Now he's cancer-free.
With a clinical trial that didn't exist. So, like, that unwavering faith, it's not always common to have the burning bush scenario. So that's amazing, man. And how is that?
Were you a faithful man before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so many issues. Those are the ones where I was like, it became a almost fearful respect for God, as opposed to like genie in a bottle type.
Yeah.
Where, hey,
good.
when I need you, I'm gonna rub you the right way. You come out, take care of what I need. It changed to, man, whatever you want me to do. If you tell me to jump, how high? Like I'm going full force. And the thing that I noticed is in life, not just business, when you have that mentality shift, everything becomes easier. I was talking this morning about the ox, right? It's talking about, he says, take on my yoke. My burden is like, the whole thing. And so what that is a big ox has this thing around his neck, and you attach it to a little ox. And all it's there to do, the big ox does all the work. The little ox is just being dragged along so he can understand how the work is supposed to be carried out. But the physical burden is on the big ox. And so what Jesus is telling us, if you would attach yourself to me, if you could be attached to me, become a part of my yoke, he said, I'm going to do all the work. All you have to do is follow me around and learn. And that takes so much pressure off. Whenever I stop thinking I got to have the heavy part, Jesus got to have the light part, or even if I think we're equal, we're going to share this load. He said, no, dummy, we're not sharing anything.
Yeah.
Get out of my way. I just want you to be here and learn my ways. That's it. And when that finally clicked, I said, man, I'll do whatever he wants me to do, because he's doing all the work. My failures are because he allowed me to fail.
100%.
My wins are because he allowed me to win. And so it takes that pressure off of being perfect and getting the decision exactly right all the time. Because I used to always feel like, oh, this is my fault. This is on me. This is because I had to make decisions all the time. But now I got Jesus here, and he's telling me what to do, and I'm just following him. And so I don't care if anybody else agrees. If I'm going with him, it's going to be all right.
Bro, this is trippy. But I know you didn't get, I believe it hasn't been delivered, but look at what's inside of our Cleaning Profits invitation. You just talked it, brother.
That is crazy. No, I have not gotten it.
When we're building these things, we were looking at the themes, and there's another one right here for us to search later, Philippians 4:13. But this one is like, this is what people don't think about right here. That's come to me, all who are labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And that's just facts. Like, and at the end of yourself, you find him, right? Like we think we need to do all of it. You can't. You can't. You got to turn it all over to him. And I love that, because then you see these God-fearing men, and it's like they don't fear the world. They're going through it. It's part of the process to get to heaven. But it's like, I got him in my corner. Like he's got it. I told Jim, I used to say in podcasts, like, oh, I hate the unknown, bro. Like I fear the unknown. Now I welcome it because it's already known. Right? He already knows it. I don't, but don't matter. It doesn't matter what I know. It matters how I follow him. You know, dude, that's sick. That's crazy. Not gonna lie, this just happened a little bit ago. Somebody just said the same verse.
We actually interviewed a priest, and
No, that was JJ.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry,
verse.
JJ. Yeah. Through that verse.
The priest through this verse, which is take up your cross and follow me in Matthew 16, which is part of it too. That was part of your cross, right? Like what you had to go through with your kid and your wife, and you were like, cool, boom, grabs it, walks with them. Very intense.
How do you now, in less intense situations and just leading this company, how do you use your faith to lead your company and your team?
Good question.
Man, that's a great question. So to me, this is just me, I believe the Bible really is a life guide to marriage, business, everything. All the relationships are there. Like one big thing one of our core values is belief, and that's if you put in the hard work, believe that you will be rewarded. And if you look in the Bible, that is all throughout. The respect, the love, the compassion that you have to have for your employees. That's what Jesus modeled. He modeled being a good business owner by his walk in life, just by being a good man. And I think I use it every day. If you go to Proverbs, it talks about being wise and understand when people are giving you these compliments that are really luring you into bad situations and bad decisions. Like it talks about being wise as a serpent but gentle as a dove. Like, man, if you start digging in just in the Proverbs and Psalms, man, you have a wealth of information about running a business. And so, you know, and then wise counsel, right? I use that in everything I do as well. If I can latch on to people that have been through it and understand what's going on, I'm not prideful. I want to hear what you have to say, and then whatever sits well in my soul with what God is showing me, He'll pick that apart, that information that they give me, and then He'll say, "This is what you need out of that." And so a lot of times He just attaches me to all these people, and I'm just taking. They always think that I'm giving them something. I always feel like I'm getting something. I'm like, so I'm just taking. I'm like, what we got here, God? He's like, keep 1, 2, and 6.
Well, so you know what's interesting? I was reading a book. So he dropped me off actually for mass yesterday, and come to find out there was no mass because they changed the schedule. So I was like, oh, I'm just here in a church. I was in the university, so they had little books and stuff. So I started reading it. Very interesting. He was talking about serving, and he said that you can't truly serve somebody unless you're picking something up from them. So that's crazy that you just said that. That's good. Because they said, like, you can't serve from a pedestal, right? And I was in the book. I was like, what, dude? Like, by myself, there's no one. I'm just like, anybody hear this? Anybody want to? It says, like, you can't serve from a pedestal in the sense of, like, oh, look, I just served you. I just had you on my podcast. Or you come to us and you're like, I just dropped a bunch of value. It's like, if you're not mutually learning from the other person as you're serving them, then that's an egotistical type of serve. It's a pedestal serve. Therefore, it's not mutually exclusive. If they don't benefit each other, then you're not truly serving. That's right. And I'm like, whoa, now you're just feeding your ego. And a lot of people do that. They serve from the pedestal. Look how much money I donated. Look how much time I gave them. Look how much. And instead of, what did I just learn from this homeless person that I just said hi to? If you cannot learn as you serve, then you're not truly serving. That one hit me hard. I was like, damn, am I like really serving, dude? Or am I like, I just like to say I'm serving?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, that's an interesting point. Like, am I actually serving or am I doing this still for me?
Yeah. Which you do it for you in a way. Like, it's not bad, but it's like when he flipped it on me like that, I was like, I have to seek to learn to get something valuable from the person. Like, they make you more humble. The time. There's so many different things. So
all right. I got a question, man. What do your leadership meetings look like then within Lord. JDM, man?
Very direct. So that's another thing. We have a direct communication. So if I'm getting on their nerves, I give them free rein to say so. And then whenever I have issues with them, because one thing I learned from the church is that if people know that you love them, they'll let you correct them. That's just if they don't feel like that you love them, they will resist correction
so
from
simple,
you.
Such a simple lesson, but so powerful. If they know you love them, you can correct them.
Yep.
They'll let you.
Yep. Right. And so if I'm feeling resistance, then I know that I haven't spent the right amount of time developing that relationship with them.
How do you let your team know that you love them?
Oh man. Sometimes I just tell them.
Yeah. No, I do too, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's so good.
Yeah.
Like, feel resistance from the person I'm trying to correct. As long as you're correcting in a graceful way too.
Right. Yeah.
But you get what I mean. Like, when you feel that there's something, you don't go, it's your fault. You go, man, I haven't loved this person enough. That's powerful.
We were at Connie a few years ago. We took them out to Puerto Vallarta. So just like a celebration, we finally hit $1 million. Hey, let's go, bring your boyfriend and bring Jessica, and we're going to go hang out. And we stayed out there for about a week, had fun,
Wow.
or whatever. So she comes back, and we were just like trying to develop her into like learn more about the business, go out and do these bids, RFPs, whatever. And she was doing a bid walk, and she, you start meeting the same people over and over and over again at these bid walks. And one of them is he was complaining about the company he was working for, and he was talking to Connie like, what do you think about them? She was like, they love me. So I love where I work because, they're not going to fire me. They love me. And that was her response. And she came back talking about it, and me and my wife were laughing. But it she feels that.
Yeah.
And, you can't fake that. It is for that to be your response, like on the spur of the moment, that's already been there. It's not like we can train her to think
Say
like
that.
that.
100%. Leadership is felt.
Yep.
Yeah, it can't be told.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome that it's funny that you say sometimes I just got to tell them. I'll tell my team too sometimes, like, hey, I don't expect y'all to say it back, but I love y'all. Yeah. Because we go to war.
Mm-hmm. No, it's running a business is very difficult and lonely. My wife, she always gets mad. She's like, you should have more friends. I was like, people don't want to be my friend. Like that, I'm a pastor and a business owner. They're always like trying to get nuggets, or they're throwing scenarios about marriage out to me. They don't want me to be around to see everything. So I'm like, it's just the way that it is. I got God, I got you. That's all I need. But it's my relationships are typically somewhat guarded because of my positions, and so I already know that going into it. But it's at work, these guys we have to be on that level where we can have that type of unfiltered respect for each other, where it's just like, hey, we got to get stuff done. And if I see you or you see me not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I want you to feel comfortable telling me. And so I have to be cautious at the way that I respond to their correction. Like, hey, Joseph, you were supposed to turn this in last week. I can't be like, oh, well, maybe you should have did this or that.
Yeah.
It's just got to be like, oh, my bad. I got you. I'm going to go take care of it right now. Because if you respond, if you bite them,
right,
then they would be like, he lying. He don't want to be corrected.
Yeah.
Leave Joseph alone. And then you got all these holes that you don't know, because they know more holes than you do. Because I'm in the ivory tower looking down trying to make these chess moves, and they're like, but down here it looks like potholes and everything else.
Totally.
Like you can't see these little things going on down here because you're trying to have this top down view, and so if you lose that connection with them, you'll be in a bad spot. I seen a lot of a friend of mine. He had a roofing company. He was doing great, man. His wife was excellent at marketing that thing. I've never seen somebody market the way that she was marketing that thing. I mean, it was a residential roof company, and he had become like the main one in Southlake, and he was just killing it. And his people, they destroyed his company. They were making deals with each other where a guy was going out selling, the office manager was paying him, and he was cutting price, so it wasn't profitable to do the job, but he was disconnected from them. And so they had done so many transactions like that. By the time it got back to him, where he really dug in, he fired the people. Well, the business is gone. It was already done for. And so I always keep that in the back of my mind too. Like, these guys, we're a team in the deepest sense of team. Like, if any one of us turns on the group, they can create some havoc. And so I gotta treat them with love and compassion, because I want them to be in this with me. They're like, I need you. Yeah, and we all need each other. They need me to go out and sell, and I need them to run the show.
Yeah, I think there's I agree with that. I think when you're trying to make chess moves, they're on the ground. Like, if they really wanted to screw you over, they'll make one or two moves, and then you won't realize that those blind spots are being attacked right now because you don't see them. You're trying to think of the big picture. So I like that you protect them, you love on them, and then in return they protect you. You guys go to war together.
Yep.
I don't know I know there's a lot of people that say that, but I don't know if there's a lot of people that do that and live by that.
Yeah.
And I think your faith has a lot to do with that. I've always told James, I'm like, if an owner is faith-based, I trust them way more. Me personally. Like, it's easier to trust them. Obviously, trust all of them, but, it's easier to trust them because their moral compass usually is attached to my moral compass, right? And we're trying to do good.
Imagine over 300 cleaning executives, all under one roof, ready to connect, collaborate, and build a community. Join your hosts, James Harper and Angel Sandoval, 11 keynote speakers and 8 expert panelists sharing the blueprint to scale your life and business. Head over to event.cleaningprofits.com for all the details. For being listeners, use code CEO30 for a 30% discount. See you there.
Let me ask you a question. Top 3 rules for janitorial leadership or scale from Joseph to the people.
So let me narrow that in my mind because I'm way up here.
Yeah.
So you're talking about for the employees?
Just any rules. Maybe what are some things you live by that are business related, janitorial business related?
Well, I think one thing in business in general, and just letting people know that they've done a good job. That's huge. I think we get caught up in all this crazy buzzwords and stuff, but if I know that you think that I'm doing good, it inspires me to do more. As soon as I feel like you don't care about my contribution, I'm not gonna. I don't value being here. It's just now it's all monetary. It's all money, and we can't compete dollar for dollar with ABM or any of those people because they got more dollars than we do. So it has to be a thing where they see that I value their contribution and that it inspires them to do more. And so I'm always, another thing is if I can't give you autonomy, then you're not a leader. If I can't trust you to do tasks without my deep oversight, then you're just a worker. Then, we can't use you.
That's good.
Let me think. Third one. Man, there's so much.
Yeah, there's so many.
So many. Yeah. The other big thing with us is investing in the people, even over the customers. Like if I'm going to spend a marketing dollar, it's got to be a training dollar attached to it.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Let's
that.
go.
Yeah.
Never heard that on a podcast. Anyone I've talked to. If I'm gonna invest in marketing, has to be simultaneously
training
being
dollar.
into training of the employee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Wow.
if they're happy, that's gonna carry out to the customer because people need to grow and build. And so whenever, like, we got a lady, she wants to do QuickBooks training. I'm not going to take that $700 and spend it on a marketing ad. I would rather give her the training that she wants because it empowers her to do her job better. And so, and she's going to go beyond that QuickBooks training. Just because she's like, he listened to me, he gave me what I needed. And she's going above and beyond. And if she's going above and beyond, the customer feels it. And it takes care of all that stuff. And they're going to, that will trickle in as business eventually.
100%.
Yeah.
I always, when we do business together, I would always tell James, like we would be talking. I'm like we're growing a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm so glad we get to pay them what we pay them because we're doing better than the average. But how do we retain them, right? Like, it's not money. We can't depend on money. Is it one-on-ones? Do we do time? Do we change titles just so that they can feel like there's more? Do we increase, because there'll be a point where if you do your job as a leader, you develop them like a Connie. Yep. You develop them so much that she's going to start drawing attention from competitors, from bigger companies that could probably pay her X amount more a year. Now she's going to have to pick between intrinsic value of what you bring versus monetary value. And they'll have to choose you over money. Or not choose you, choose them when they're with you over money.
That's right. That's
right. They're not choosing you. They're choosing the environment and what you've provided for her to keep growing.
I actually think I remember Andy Elliott, sales trainer, saying that our culture and leadership's so good that I'll pay he had a room full of companies. I'll pay anyone $10,000 today if you guys can recruit one of my employees. And he's like, and he goes, I don't know what you're offering. You don't know what they get paid, but double their salary. But I'll pay you guys $10,000 today if you guys can, because that's how confident he was in their core culture.
What's up, Profitable Cleaner listeners? Quick question for you. Are you using 5 to 7 different platforms just to manage the everyday operations of your commercial cleaning company? If so, let us help you consolidate that into one platform. Introducing you USource. Go to usource.com, book your free demo today, and actually get started on your trial for 60 days. No charge for 60 days, all from time and attendance to reporting, vendor management, operations, sales. It's time you stop using 5 to 7 platforms and consolidate into one. So listeners, don't forget, go to usource.com and start your account today.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always believe, because I've experienced this working for people, when I'm looking for a job, it's because you failed me somewhere else.
100%.
I use the excuse of money because that's everybody can calculate that, but really you made me mad a long time ago, and now I've been looking for a way out of here. It never started with money, because whenever I accepted the check you gave me in the beginning, to me that's a contract. Like, I'm good with the work that you said I was going to be doing versus the money that you're paying me for it. When I accepted this position, I was good with it. What changed was these meetings where you're belittling me or not valuing me. I was like, okay, I've had about enough of that. Then I start looking for a job. And so I assume most people are like that. Like, I don't start looking until I'm upset with the company.
No doubt.
Yeah. Until you don't feel appreciated, maybe you don't feel like you're going to grow. Maybe you can already see where it's going to end. Or maybe you don't know where it's going. So it's all these things, and I agree. No one ever just goes, you know what? I'm look for a better paying job.
It was the first time this year that we lost an employee that was highly skilled, great guy, and he randomly quit one day. And I was shook. It was one of those emails like, hey, dude, read your email. It's like, oh, man. And I sent him a message afterwards after he quit the day of, and I said, whatever we did to bring this on, we take the ownership, because we did something to make you just up and go. And because I know the quality of man and person and skill set you have. This one's on us. And it's a hard reality to bear, but that's what you have to do. And then you use that as an opportunity to get better.
That's in that 10K SB program with Goldman Sachs, we talked about retention and we talked about coaching and training, like in the same day. And they kept saying, when do you do your reviews, your annual or quarterly or whatever? And some people were like, well, how can you gauge if you're not doing it this much or whatever? And then the lady that was leading the program, she said, well, is your only conversation about their growth in that annual meeting? And everybody's like, oh. And that's where I felt like I talk to them pretty often about it, because I want to know where you're at. Like, are you satisfied? Are you trying to grow? What does growth look like for you? We do, there's this awesome program called Strength Finders. And so each leader has to go do their little assessment, Strength Finders, and then it pulls out their top 10 things, whatever mine is, like ideology, and I can't even remember them all. Basically, I'm a pusher. I'm like driving people, command. It's all these crazy things, and but they all had their, and I put them all on the board so that we could see that everybody's top 5. Because one thing that they teach you in their Strength Finders is if you lean into the strength instead of trying to rebuild the weakness, you get a lot better result. Like it grows 100%. Faster. And so we started doing that, and Connie's one of hers was futuristic, and I was like, what the heck does that mean? So I started looking it up, and it's basically she wants to visualize what's next constantly. That's where and she likes to learn a lot. So sitting down with her, I asked her, I said, when we first did the assessment, I said, what does the future look like for you then? And she said, well, she's like, I can say anything? I said, yeah, I want to hear it. And she said, I want to be you. I was like, first I was like, what the heck? Make sure she can't talk to the customer.
Yeah. You don't want this? Yeah.
but then I was like, okay, so tell me about that. And she starts explaining like, I want to have a house and a nice car and all this other stuff. And so I was like, well, what is that? She's like, well, I want to be making $100,000. And she starts laying out her whole little goals, her goals with me. And so the next day I came to her with a plan to achieve them. I said, all right, we got 3 years to get you to where you want to be. This was probably 2 years ago. And I said, in 3 years, we're going to get you to this point, and this is how we're going to do it. We changed her position. We changed her compensation plan, but it's not based off of salary. I was like, you're going to have to earn this.
Of course.
So we're going to give you a commission part of your salary now. And so she went out and landed a data center that we for, I can't say who it's for, because it's whatever, but it's a big tech company, like top 10 in the world type tech company. And she got it, and that thing was over $100,000 for one cleaning for the construction. It took a month or so, but and now she's like salivating.
Yeah.
We're walking into these rooms, and she's like, some more construction, yes. But she can see her goal now because I put it out there. I said, this is how much you got to sell. You got to sell $1 million. No, a little bit less than $1 million in a year, so that your salary can meet the commission and hit your $100,000 goal. And I was like, and this is what you got to do to get to that point. And so she spent a year building up her network, and then this is the year where she's actually seeing the fruits of it. And I was like, by next year, you might be 150, 200 by the end of the year.
Which is a win-win.
Yep, for real. Yeah, because in a commission structure, she's benefiting and I'm benefiting.
Yeah.
So. And it's commission off of operating profit, not off of
revenue.
You can't do it like that out of operating profit. 100%.
Yeah.
So she has to be smart about that too. Dude, honestly, it's been fun to see your growth from last podcast to this podcast.
No doubt.
Even your energy is different. The way you're talking is different. The way you show up, your knowledge. So I just wanted to thank you for being here on this podcast, man. Any final messages for the people listening? Man,
I just reiterate, like, if you are small, that's not a bad thing.
Yep.
It's everybody begins somewhere, but the longer that you think it's a bad thing, the longer you're going to be stuck being small.
Mm-hmm. No doubt, man.
Lean into what you're good at.
No doubt. And also, we'll see you at Cleaning Profits, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. I know you got your tickets, so we're super pumped to have you, brother.
You should bring out Connie, bro.
Well,
maybe.
Maybe she hits that million.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for being here, brother. We really do appreciate you, and we'll see y'all on the next podcast.
I do pray. I only go the way of Mr. Yahweh. Try to correct me.